Hi, my name is Aisha Thomas, and this is my Race, Trials, and Triumphs final project. For this project, we were tasked with finding two literary works that we've covered earlier this year in class and depicting whether one is a race trial and one is a race triumph, and explaining how they contribute to our understanding of the African American experience. For my first work, I chose Clotel, or the President's Daughter, written by William Wells Brown in 1853. This is a historical fiction about Clotel, who is a mulatto woman. Her father is white and her mother is black, who has lived a very, very comfortable lifestyle as she was born a free woman to a free woman. Clotel is an example of a race trial because she was sold into slavery and forced to understand her blackness and the fact that she was a mulatto. This is also an example of a tragic mulatto story because she was forced to figure out who she was and was not aware of her social standing or how necessarily black people were treated, and that she could be treated in that same way prior to her being sold into slavery. This, in my eyes, is an example of a race trial because it shows that for black people, no matter if you were born into slavery at the time or if you were born free, at any instance, your entire life could change. And it can be catastrophic just being your skin color. And so, although Clotel was bought by the man whom she thought she loved, she ended up being his mistress, and when he got married, his wife was not very happy with her presence there. Therefore, she forced Horatio, who Clotel was the mistress of, to sell Clotel, but keep their daughter as a steward, or basically the help. This kickstarted her trials as she went on across country searching for her family, her mother and sister, who were sold to the same person when they were originally sold, and as well as her daughter, because Clotel was sold into slavery and she lost contact with her daughter. This forced her to go to extreme lengths in order to find her family, including dressing up as a white man in order to evade slavery. For my second depiction, I chose Narrative of the Life of Henry Box Brown, which was written by Henry Box Brown himself in 1851. This story is considered a slave narrative as Henry Box Brown was a slave. He was a slave that decided to take matters into his own hands regarding his freedom and mail himself to Pennsylvania. Henry Box Brown stayed in a box that was smaller than he is for dozens of hours, not eating or drinking or using the bathroom, or even didn't have the space to stretch his legs, as he was very, very compact in this box when he mailed himself. Although all of this sounds like a trial, I see this story as a story of triumph, because I feel as though a lot of times when we explore Black art, there's so many trials and tribulations that people go through to not have a triumphant ending. And I see this as a triumph because it was necessarily a triumphant ending. He ended free. He ended as his own person. He ended as a person, as slaves and Black people were only considered 3/5 of a person. And so I see this story as a triumph, as he overcame the shackles of slavery himself. These two works shape my understanding of the African American experience in America, because they show that you can start off from anywhere and still end anywhere as a Black person in America. Your future is not your future isn't depicted based off of your present. Clotel was born a free woman to a free woman, and she ended up being sold into slavery. Henry Box Brown was an enslaved man who ended up being a free man. And so these stories just go to show that there was no stability in your life as a Black person in America, regardless of if you were enslaved or not. These two stories show that regardless of your standing in America as a Black person, no matter what, you are always at a deficit. And as a Black person in America, I also experience that today, even 200 years after this occurred. And so I think that stories such as these are very important depictions of the African American struggles in America, because these struggles can happen to anyone. Being sold into slavery, being born a free person, that was not rare. There are many people that were free and were sold into slavery. And so there are many people who were born into slavery and became free. And so I think that it's really important to see the duality of being an African American in this country, yet you can also see the similarities of no matter where you start off, you're always at a deficit. Thank you for listening to my final project.